that article was women, and the closer they are to processing plants in inner city, the higher the level. But I don't think it's been proven yet to be a causative fact, but they are starting to collect data that suggests that there may be a link towards that.
I can vouch for the change in Lyme disease, and thank you for your background information. My husband and I are big hikers through meadows and forests undercover, and he had a tick embedded, and his doctor, just precautionary, said we're doing antibiotics just to be safe here. But after years and years of hiking, we are brushing them off our pant legs constantly, so we put a tight band around our ankles just to be precautionary. Thank you.
The CDC was prevented from collecting data on gun deaths. That may have changed recently. But I wonder, are there similar legal restraints on the data gathering organizations that prevent them from connecting climate change to diseases?
Another answer to that?
I don't know the answer to that, sorry.
I don't.
I've not heard of anything like that.
Yeah, I think there's been concern about it from the climate community. It's certainly something that I think there's been fears would occur, especially with the changes both in the EPA and I think there was a lecture that was going to be done by the CDC that didn't end up being in one of our consortium meetings. But I'm not sure that data has actually disappeared. I think there's just a concern that it could happen at this stage. I'm not aware of anything actually happening.
Are there some more questions? Well, we're very, very,
I think
one more?
Susan.
I just wonder about veterinarians. I think maybe a lot of veterinarians have some data about what animals are going through and ticks and.
Yeah, I don't know how well vets keep and correlate and
Yeah.
Sort of analyze their data.
Mhm.
Vets, well, I know when it comes to Lyme disease, they rely on tests, just like actually the human test is not very reliable.
Okay.
And so my hunch is it's greatly overdiagnosed.
Oh, right.
But yeah, I'm not going to get started on Lyme. That's a whole nother issue with the past media coverage and some misconceptions and things.
Okay.
And so,
One more question.
This isn't a question, but I just want to say, like I said other times, carpooling, especially in Leelanau County, is the most simple thing we could do as a community to immediately help save the earth, just within your own neighborhood. And there was a website about 10 years ago that didn't succeed very well. I appreciate that, but carpool, please.
Over here. I'll take the mic.
She's got one.
Oh. No, I was somebody back here.
Well, I just wanted to say most of us could give a little gas by not letting our cars idle while we lay in the post office, just so the cars line.
Well, thank you all very much for coming, and we are very, one more question.
If you're interested in more information about ticks locally, I think it was 3 years ago now, there was a study on North Manitou to start collecting some of this real-time data on what's happening with our tick populations, how many of the ticks are infected with Lyme, that sort of thing. So look that up. I think the Park Service has more information on that. And to speak to Barb Samaris's question about multi-generation impacts of stress, the environment in which a child grows in utero and after they're born, the environment of the level of stress hormones that person grows in does have an impact on which genes get turned on and off. And those genes stay switched on for multiple generations. And it's imperative that people have the type of support systems that you spoke to mitigate that trauma but those genetic impacts of those genes getting switched on last for multiple generations.
Yeah, it's epigenetics, and I've heard the same.
Epigenetics.
I've heard the same thing.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not an expert in genetics by any stretch, but that's my understanding as well.
So that's another thing to be mindful of when we think about the impacts of climate change. We may take care of real world, on the ground things like not idling our engine anymore, but it's gonna take multiple generations to heal the things that happen with how our genes express themselves. So it's a big issue, but there's lots of different things we can do about it.
Well, we are very, very grateful and thankful to Lisa, Dr. Hart, Dr. Suzanne. And I want to remark that this has been taped, and it will be on upnorthmedia.com, and later on it will be on our League of Women Voters website. And I just want to thank you all for coming. And one more thing before we go. Two more things before we go. There are two handouts for you. There's one that's a large size, lots of stuff that you can do, and a smaller size with lots of things that you can do. Read these, check these references, these links, lots of things that you can do.
Most importantly on that, in my opinion, is the phone call information that needs to be done today or tomorrow. If you guys want to amplify our voices for Citizens Climate Lobby, I really would be so indebted for those phone calls. It would mean a lot. And that's on the short, small sheet.
And one more announcement, which we...
Hi, thank you so much. It's an amazing panel, amazing information. And if we want to talk more about solutions, June 21st through 23rd, my name is Dan Worth. I'm with the Groundwork Center for Resilient Communities in Traverse. We'll be having a clean energy conference, the Michigan Clean Energy Conference and Expo. Friday will be an all-day academic conference at the Hagerty Center. Microsoft's renewable energy purchaser, GM's energy efficiency person, all the utilities will be up telling us their plans. And then in the afternoon, we will be here telling them our plans for how local development of energy resources can be a wonderful solution, and that includes renewables, that includes mobility from groups like TART and Beta and the wonderful folks at Norte, and energy efficiency. And then Saturday, I think Citizens Climate Lobby will have a table at the Expo, which will be at NMC's Aero Park campus. And 12 to 5, it will be Teslas, EVs, solar installers, wonderful folks talking about the solutions and how you can get involved with them here. And the website for that is mycleanenergyconference.org, MI for Michigan. And we'd love to see as many of you folks as can make it there. So
Cool.
Thank you.
That sounds great.
Thanks. Take a 5-minute break, and then we hope as many of you as possible will stay for a short member meeting. Thank you again.